Good morning, Beacon. It's good to see you. Awesome. I am Reverend Jay. It is good to be with you. That's like protege, not the standard American J, okay? I just want to offer you a little quick description of myself. I am 5'7", kind of average height. I got a little lift with the heels, so I'm probably a little bit more taller. And I'm wearing burgundy today with a person on my shirt with a big head who's holding an iron. Yeah, glad to be here with some braids in my hair, by the way, too, and some locks that just hit my shoulders, I believe. Yeah, we're there at shoulder length. But I am glad to be with you, glad to celebrate with you this morning. We have a few things in your hearing that I want you to have for announcements today. We are so grateful to have Pablo back from California, so definitely super excited about that. Also, there is an advisory group that will meet today at 12:30 to 2 p.m. upstairs in the library, okay? If you are new to Beacon or just visiting and you want to find more about us and our community, please feel free to connect with us later. There is a connecting group happening today at also 12:30 between 1:30 on the second floor in room 209, okay? Room 209. In addition to that, feel free to stop by visit the visiting table, the Harvest Delight table, which is outside the sanctuary, so you can purchase tickets or donate items for November 2nd for the event there for the Harvest Delight. Also, today at 5, today at what? 5. Come on, all right. Look, we're celebrating the fall equinox celebration. So I'm super excited to see you there at 695 Springfield. The service will go for 30 minutes and we'll be outside, but we also have a potluck. So please make sure that you come and enjoy yourself, make some space, want to see your face in the place, all you beautiful folk, and super excited to enjoy you. And I turn this portion of the service over to the wonderful, who? Oh, we have a hymn. All right, go for the magic.
Good morning, my name is Misa Iwama. I'm the Director of Music Ministry, and I'm here with John O'Neill and a very special guest who's going to be singing and conducting, Dr. Tammy Petty. You know Tammy already. You know Tammy already from her singing in services, but I have had the delight of working with Tammy almost more than any other person I've worked with over the past 10 years. And I think that her level of expertise and friendliness and spirit is going to just blow you away. I would say that we found out today that actually Reverend Jay and Tammy have also known each other for a long time. So we're all connected here through music and through Beacon. Tammy?
Thank you. Let's see. Oh, now I'm on. Good morning. We're going to sing together hymn 112, Do You Hear? And I invite you to rise in Always Possible and sing out verses 1 through 3. Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, in the heights, in the plain, in the vale, in the main, in the sun, in the rain? Do you hear, through the roar, through the rush, through the throng, through the crush? Do you hear in the hush of your soul, hear the cry, fear won't still, hear the heart's call to will, hear a sigh, startling drill in your soul, in your soul. 1, 2, 3. From the stand to the outermost strand, do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear? Let's hear it. All my dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers, they are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear? Do you hear? That was great start. Thanks. Please be seated.
My name is Mary Early Dahl. My pronouns are she. Thank you. Let's try that again. Good morning. My name is Mary Early Zeld. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the affiliated community minister here at Beacon. And this morning, I am also your worship associate. I am a petite, fair-skinned woman with short, curly, dark hair that is also graying. Today, I am wearing a dusty pink top. We're going to light the chalice today with words from Sharon Wiley. The hours of day and night are in balance. In honor of earth-centered traditions that celebrate this time of year, we observe that the flaming chalice holds the elements of the four directions: earth, air, fire, water. The lamp oil for earth, the air that feeds the flame, the fire we light, and the chalice itself. The cup, the symbol of water. We light our chalice and reflect on the balance we seek in our lives, the balance we seek in our hearts, and the balance we seek in our world.
Good morning. Is that good in the back? Okay. A lot of energy here this morning. My name is Maureen Irwin, and I'm a member of the Beacon chaplain team, designated by this maroon scarf. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm wearing a pumpkin sweater in honor of the equinox and change is beginning to happen. This month, as a congregation and in our community groups, we're examining the theme of an invitation: how we live into the deeper dimensions of being human. It's a view that from my 3.5-year-old grandson this week I'd like to share. He slammed the kitchen door. The header from the blind came crashing down. He froze in position and stared at me. This wasn't the first or the 5th time he's done this. And he yelled in frustration, "Why do I keep doing that?" 3.5. Tears came to my eyes, such awareness. How many of us at 30, 40, 70, 80 keep doing the things we do and don't stop to realize we just keep doing it? Rosie Rosetto, in Waking Up to What You Do, shares the training of a trapeze artist. There's something called the dead spot. It's the place between the swings where the artist just hangs at point 0 before either going back or grabbing the next bar. It's the opportunity for change and creativity. The events of our lives offer us all types of dead spots when we become aware of them. And then we can choose to allow ourselves to be suspended in midair, to be prepared to work in that split second, to let go of our habitual way of being, and to be open to know ourselves in a way that leaves us open and vulnerable to respond differently to whatever life brings us. And so this morning, I'd like to extend an invitation from the chaplain group. We are trained, non-judgmental listeners that work with the highest level of confidentiality. In sharing your story or that pain in your heart, you may find that just in telling your story once again, you may find a dead spot, an expansion point where you can see and choose to live your life just a bit differently and more fully than the moment before. If you'd like to speak to a chaplain, please reach out to me or another chaplain or to our ministry team. Chaplains also extend the spiritual care of our community by facilitating our weekly ritual of community candle lighting. Today, we light a candle of remembrance for Charlotte Gilson, whose memorial was yesterday. And we light a candle of deep concern and fervent hope for resolution with the continuing and expanding conflict in Israel, Palestine, Lebanon. Please come forward here in the sanctuary or in your home to light a candle for these and for all of the joys and sorrows in your own hearts. Amen.
I'm back. Sometimes I forget that it's customary to introduce yourself and sort of describe yourself. And I thought, how do I describe myself? Well, I'm me. I have short, spiky, dark hair that is graying, like a friend of mine up here said a few minutes ago. I'm wearing a white and black stripy shirt and black pants. If I described how I look, I would just say, I enjoy dessert. And my pronouns are her and she, like the chocolate. So please rise and always possible. And we're going to sing hymn 336, All My Memories of Love. And all my memories of love hang upon the stars. All the souls I've lost to tears now the autumn jars. And the air around me thickens with their song. Sing again their nameless tunes, sing again and strong. Willows in September touch the water clear, set among the rushes tall of the flowing year. Rising from the summer past comes the shadowed sky, running toward me silently, love to fortify. Many are the graceful hearts hung upon the tree, and it seems there's room for mine on these branches free. And the sky above the tree, whether wet or bright, is my ease and comforting, my good news and might. Thank you. Please be seated.
Hello everyone. How are you all doing today? Good? My name is Pablo Vasquez. I'm your intern minister here at Beacon, and I'm glad to be back here. My pronouns are any. I have long, brownish black hair, curly. I'm wearing a flowered shirt, irrespective of the season. And I'm about 5'7" as well, so I share that with Reverend Jay as well. So I'd like to lead us through a little meditation of sorts. If you would please take a deep breath in, and then a deep, strong breath out. Center yourself. Close your eyes if you would like to. Sit, relax in whatever way feels most comfortable for you, and listen to the sound of my voice. Any of the voices and sounds within you, pause them and still them like a quiet stream. Balance yourself in the center like we are balanced right now between the longest and shortest days. This is the equinox. The wheel of the year turns and turns again. The air cools, the days shorten, the sun seems to weaken, barely clearing the horizon after rising before beginning its descent. View this now as your opportunity before the days decrease, and an opportunity you may not have had when the days were longer, to pause. Be balanced. And once again, breathe in and breathe out, knowing that you are present in this moment. This present moment is actually all we're guaranteed. Like the sun moving towards the shortest day, each moment arises and is gone before we know it. This is the time to pause and consider as we enter the season of contemplation, of increasing darkness, of lying fallow, of what some would say dormancy. But this is the season also of letting go, of lightening burdens, of preparing for a long period of being still, of going deep. Pause and consider. Breathe in again and breathe out. Binaries, in, out, dark and light, hot and cold, chaos and order. Neither extreme is inherently good or bad. It's all a matter of balance. Balance in the pause, of honoring the spectrum for which binaries mark the endpoints. Today, we mark the midpoint between summer and winter solstice, a time to seek balance and be free, and to enjoy a moment of pause. Thank you. You can open your eyes, and thank you for joining me on this meditation.
Good morning, Beacon. I'm Carol Satchel from your Social Justice Committee with a warm invitation to anyone who wants to join us. I am very happy to announce that the plate collection, both today and next week, that are undesignated are going to go to Reclaim Our Vote. And Laura Farmer from Reclaim Our Vote is here to tell us a little bit more about the organization.
Good morning. I'm Laura Farmer. I am 5'6" with dark curly hair, and I'm wearing a teal and white dress. I am so happy to be here today. I am a regional organizer for Reclaim Our Vote. I'm also on the board of trustees for Soma Action. And a shout out to the absolutely amazing Erica Melanowski, who is also on the board in the executive committee and just does tremendous work. Reclaim Our Vote is part of a larger nonprofit called the Center for Common Ground. We are focused on empowering underrepresented voters of color to vote and fighting voter suppression one voter at a time. So what we do is we reach out to voters of color in states that have a very long history of voter suppression, and we encourage them to vote. We also register people to vote, and we reach out to voters who have been purged from voter rolls and encourage them to re-register. I'd like to tell you a little story about that. I have a friend from college who ran for Congress in 2018. She was in a district outside of Atlanta in a swing district. She ran for office under tremendous voter suppression. You may recall that 2018 was the year Kemp and Abrams had a race there, and at the time Kemp was the Secretary of State overseeing an election that he was running himself in, and somehow 800,000 voters were purged from the voter rolls. Now, what's particularly pernicious about that is that you may have seen some of the lines for outside of Atlanta for voting. People can, and this is predominantly in minority-dominant districts. This does not happen in the white dominant districts. So there are lines 3, 4, 5 hours long, and what's particularly terrible is somebody can line up childcare, take off time from work, go stand in a line for hours to vote, get to the front of the line, and discover that unbeknownst to them, they have been purged from the voter rolls. And it's too late at that point for them to re-register. So what we do is we obtain the names of people who have been purged, and we reach out to them and encourage them to re-register. We educate people about voting, raise awareness, tell people how to vote. We have set up democracy centers in voter suppression dominant states to encourage people to use their vote and fight against these voter suppression tactics. So
and the way that this organization works is we use multiple channels. We write postcards, we do phone banking, there's also on-the-ground canvassing for people who live in the state. We work in concert with several civil rights organizations, so we work with the NAACP and other social justice groups, and we also work with voting rights groups. We identify issues of particular interest on the ground in those communities, and we include some of those issues in the scripts and the postcards. The postcards that we use are handwritten, they are multiracial, they're vibrant and welcoming. People who receive them often put them on their refrigerator and they hold on to them. So they are eye-catching because they are handwritten, and we have sent millions and millions of postcards. I've personally distributed, I think, 15,000 postcards in the last 2 months. So it's a very popular activity. It's a pretty easy way to get involved. And I do believe that it makes a difference, an impact. We have done studies about it and it's shown that it helps increase voter turnout. I'm here today because I want to encourage those of you who are interested to get involved. As it's so amazing that you're making donations to the organization. Those donations will go to support a number of different things. It will go to support purchasing stamps for particularly senior communities. We have a lot of seniors who are writing the postcards. We also donate stamps. There are schools that get involved in writing postcards. And we are setting up these democracy centers. We've set up 13 so far, but there are more underway. And it's a way to get on the ground and get involved and raise awareness and empower people to vote. I will also mention the organization itself is led by people of color, which is something I think that's very important. And it's just a wonderful organization. I'm so proud to be part of it. I'm a volunteer, but I'm so proud to be a part of this organization. And since the founding, millions and millions of postcards have been sent out. There's a particular focus on districts with swing races. So anyway, I have put together postcard kits for those of you who want to write kits. This particular campaign that I put kits together for, that I brought here today, is headed to Black women in Florida. I have kits with 30 postcards per kit, and that'll take you probably a couple of hours to knock out. They are due to be mailed October 1st to October 15th. We time the mailings very specifically around early voting. We also really encourage voters to take advantage of early voting to avoid lines, to avoid the games that are played with absentee ballots and sometimes some of that. So, but we really encourage people to go in person and vote early. So Carol will have all the kits if people are interested, and I'm so touched that you're donating proceeds to Reclaim Our Vote. Your money will be well used. This is a really fantastic organization. I'm also available if people have questions, and I thank you so much. There is a little video about the postcarding process. It's very simple. You basically will receive, the kits have everything that you need except for the stamps. That's the only thing that you would need to obtain is the stamps. You would handwrite the address on the front of the card. On the back of the card, there is a little label that you would put in the middle. It's like an Avery label that has been pre-printed with all the pertinent information that the voter would need to know how to vote in their district. So it's specific to that district. And you write the message in ideally 2 colors, to make certain words that are key to pop and to make it interesting visually. As I said, it takes a couple minutes to write each card. It's a pretty simple thing to do, and people love doing it. And that's it. We do ask that you try to write the address very legibly. But other than that, you can go to town. So if people have questions, Carol will have my contact information. And again, thank you so much. I so appreciate your interest in getting involved.
And for Beacon people, if you bring the postcards back, we'll take care of the postage. So just fill out the cards, bring them back here, we'll mail them out.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. And now this morning's offering will be so gratefully received.
This morning's reading is from Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. I did it again. This is my first Sunday as a worship associate, so. This morning's reading is from Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace.
That's fine. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. So I can walk around while I talk. Let me turn this one on instead. So Ecclesiastes tells us that there's a time for all things. And that's true. I've been thinking about this when it comes to the own changes in my life. For those of you that don't know, I've recently started a PhD program in Berkeley, California, where I'd had to leave behind the place I've lived for most of my life in Texas, leave behind friends, loved ones, family, had to drive across the country with all of my possessions. You begin to wonder a lot about your life and the choices you've made when you can fit all your possessions in one moving truck, and also when you're driving through 80-mile-per-hour winds in Wyoming. But it really gave me a time to reflect, which I think is also what's important in this season. Too often, we make choices for better or for worse, and we don't reflect on them. We wonder about how they make us feel, how they make others feel. Do we feel heard? Do we feel understood? How we made someone else feel heard and understood. And we don't think beyond that sometimes. The reality is that we have the power of choice, and thus a free will of sorts. I know there might be some determinists out there who think we don't have this thing called free will, but in reality, I do think we do. We have the power to make choices that can lead to life, that can lead to death, that can lead to feeding others, it can lead to starving others, it can lead to helping ourselves, it can lead to hurting ourselves. And the thing is that when we have this power, we also have great responsibility that comes with it. Sometimes we must make absolutely difficult choices, and the decisions that come, especially in this time of what many of us would consider a pause, a moment to take a break. But especially as Americans, we know that this season in particular does not give us much of a break, does it? We have many great decisions to come up to. The next time I'm with you, actually, all of you, if I'm with you, all of you will have made a big decision. And the reality is that elections are not just a social matter, something on a grand level. We elect consistently in our own lives. We choose what to prioritize, what to set above, what to make ours, what to give to others, how to share, how to keep, how to hide, how to share. And in that sort of sense, even when you go into the ballot box, remember that it is, at its core, a personal matter. Sometimes I hear people say, but my choice of who I choose or what I do, etc., it doesn't really hurt others, does it? But it does sometimes, a lot of the time. And so when we make our decisions at any sort of level in our lives, we need to stop and think, how can we do what is best and what is right? What is righteous, not just for ourselves, but for others and for our community and for what we wish to accomplish in the world. If we're here at Beacon in Unitarian Universalism and we want to be truly honest with our desire to build a better world, to build something that is beloved fellowship and community, then we need to take the time to reflect and see how we best do that on every level of our lives. We can't just step away and say, oh, this is just a political issue, this is just a vote. Means very little in the long run of things. I don't live in a swing state, what have you. But the truth is that even that vote, even your decision to say those things, even your decision to perhaps not even make it to the ballot box, or to not talk to someone that you haven't talked to in a while, or to not make that phone call to your mother if you haven't heard from her in a long while. All these things do matter, and they add up to the grand equation of our choices, which do eventually pile up into a decision, a grand decision we have made. I will say that I've never been fond of this idea of the autumn, even though I read it in the meditation. It's just a season where we just stop and wait and do basically next to nothing, wait for the winter to slide in, and just hope that the spring will come sooner than later, and that, that groundhog sees or doesn't see the shadow. I don't know. Weird American rituals to me. But nonetheless, I view it instead as a season of choices, of decisions, of hope, of change. Not just because there is an election around, but because we see it manifest so visibly around us. The change that happens not just in the trees, in the weather, in the atmosphere, even in the opportunities to go outside when it's not so hot, or for those of you that don't like the winter, to go outside before it gets too cold. We live in a time in which we are able, in this season, to yes, stop, pause, reflect, breathe in, breathe out, but also to enjoy, to make choices, to reflect. I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately, not just because of the grand changes in my life as well, or my time in going through this ministerial fellowship process, but also in what kind of person I want to be, what community I want to be a part of, what world I want to leave behind for any possible descendants I have, for your descendants, for my friends, family, and so forth. And sometimes you overwhelm yourself thinking about these things. You expect yourself, I must make these decisions now, I must be the change I've been waiting for at this very moment. And then you become frustrated a week later, months later, years later. Why didn't I do that thing? Why didn't I learn that language? Why didn't I travel there? Why didn't I tell that person I loved them before they passed? Why didn't I go out and get that job? Why didn't I do all these things? Why? And it goes to leading into the other thing. While choice can be overwhelming, reflection can be too. We can't let ourselves think too harshly of ourselves and the world. When we go out and we make choices, when we reflect upon those choices, when we reflect upon our lives, we must be kind to ourselves and to each other, especially in these decisions where there are choices on a micro and a macro level, where people may be making choices that they may not even realize have impacts years, decades down the line. It's hard to think about sometimes, and I know you probably are sensing more of a somber tone than you're used to when it comes to my sermons, but it's to drive in a reality of things. I think about how I've been reflecting lately on this line I heard relating to a Hindu guru who, on his sandals, would place a prayer that forgive me, Mother Earth, for all the damage I cause you for every step I take. And I was thinking about that even when walking here. It's a lovely area here in Summit, but we must also reflect on everything that it's been built upon, on not just, say, the indigenous caretakers of the land who were pushed out, on the black and brown bodies that put the toil to help build this land as well, our immigrant ancestors, our current immigrant fellows as well, and all the people that are included in this community without being actively included. I sometimes have heard people say at the diner or some other place, or just walking around, hear the conversations of, oh, this is really lovely, I love it here. Better that we don't make the choice to go to another part of town. And it strikes me, because sometimes we shut ourselves off from the fact that people sometimes do think that way, that they think that there are darker sides to everything, and that those darker sides must be avoided. But as the meditation had said, even in things of light and dark, there is no objective good or evil with it. They're just tied to the choices that we make and how they can better ourselves and others. So when it comes to this season of change, don't just go out and change the world. Change your perceptions. Change who you are at core. Change the way you even view things. Perhaps next time you're walking in a park, think about your every step, just like that Hindu guru. If you're breathing in the air, think about how our combined choices have led to an air that maybe is not as breathable as it used to be, or a water that's not as drinkable as it used to be, and how we can make the choices, the decisions through our reflections to make all those things better again. Because I do have such hope, not just in our wonderful congregation or in our denomination or even in this community, but in the wider world, that we can step not into a winter of discontent, but a winter of fellowship, of love, of peace and joy, not just here in the rest of the world, in the cosmos, what have you, where we can be together in wonderful fellowship, in beloved community, and truly work together to build a world that is for all of us. So when the seasons turn again, we don't have to reflect on what's worse, but can always remember what's best. Thank you. And now some wonderful music.
So we're going to sing Turn, 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 and you have the words in your leaflet. Ooh. And by the hymnologist Pete Seeger. Rise in every way you can, just in your heart. If you're at home and you need to be seated, if you're here and you need to be seated, just feel a little lift. We're going to sing together, Turn, Turn, Turn. Here we go. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, and to be a time to release. I swear it's not too late. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. Great.
Wonderful.
Do we stay standing?
Yes, please. Please stay standing and gather hands as we do in this lovely little community here. Yes, please. Thank you. Now, I'm glad. Thank you so much for such wonderful music today. Of course, and especially that ending topical song that goes very well with my sermon. Let's give them a round of applause, please, especially Tammy and the choir. Wonderful. All right, back to holding hands. May you all go out into this season of change and choices and decisions and take the time to reflect, to make all these sorts of wonderful changes, choices, and decisions, not just in your own lives, but in your community and the world, and to bring the spirit that lies here in Beacon to warm up this ever, ever wonderful community. Thank you.